Here we go, off to the races. What is cultural geography? Well, it's also referred to frequently at universities and other colleges as human geography. The very word geography is a Greek word. You may very well have known that from fifth grade when they do the etymology of words. The first part, the prefix, geo means earth. Graph means to describe or to write. Geography as a discipline encompasses both the natural or physical sciences, things like meteorology, climatology, geomorphology, earthquakes, and the cultural and social sciences, as we're going to see. The discipline of geography explains where something is and why it is there. These are the critical components of what we do in geography. We answer these two questions. Where is something? Why is it there? That's what we do. Kind of cool. The focus of cultural geography, of course, is human characteristics spread across the surface of the planet. We look at things like, and this is what we're going to look at, demographics, which means things that have to do with population, migration, culture, language, religion, ethnicity, politics or political geography, development, as in economic development, agriculture, one of my favorite things, industry, settlements, and urban patterns. You know what planet that is? That's Mars, the red one. You know, sometimes if you look up at the sky, if you know where to look and when to look, you can actually see Mars. If you were looking at Mars and trying to examine Mars, not from here, but if you were looking at maps of Mars or photographs of Mars that we've taken with spacecraft, what evidence would you look for if you wanted to show that water had once flowed across the surface of Mars? Just so you know, I had a class actually as a graduate student, and we did this very thing. We looked at the terrestrial planets and moons in the solar system and tried to discern, based on what we see on Earth and how things work on Earth, what was happening on those other bodies. It was really, really a great and cool class. Well, if you were looking to decide whether water had flowed across the surface of Mars at some point, you'd probably look for river channels, deltas, sedimentary strata, which is sedimentary rocks. These are all formed with water. We'll take a look on the left-hand side. That is what is known as a dendritic stream pattern, and it's formed on Mars. That forms when water flows across the surface of the planet. And if you look on the right-hand side, you can see there's a dendritic stream pattern on Earth. Very, very similar. If you look on the left-hand side, you can see that's a delta coming down out of the mountains. So the water used to flow out of the mountains and then out into a flat area and created a delta, just like you see that delta forming on the right-hand side on Earth. And on the left-hand side, those are sedimentary rocks. On the right-hand side, those are sedimentary rocks. The difference is the one on the left, that photograph is from Mars, and the one on the right is Earth. So you can see that there seems to be evidence that at one point water was on Mars. Human activity. What would constitute evidence that humans, or Martians, once inhabited Mars? Think about it. What would you say? Would say, yep, that looks like some sort of intelligent life was once on Mars. What evidence do you see of human occupation from 35,000 feet up, in an airplane? So when you're flying along, you look down at the surface of the planet. What do you see that indicates that there's people down here? If we never evolved on Earth, what would be different about your current surroundings? So if somehow you happen to come here and you looked around and people had never been here, what would the Earth look like in comparison to what it looks like now? Just take a look outside. Go ahead, do it. I'll wait. What do you see? What do you see that's completely unrelated to humans outside? Yeah, not much. That's how much impact we've had. This is a famous photograph of the Earth at night. Of course, it's a composite from NASA. Well, if we were flying in a spacecraft over Mars and it looked like this, and then at other times it wasn't like that, we would probably assume something was going on because those are lights, right? Electricity. I took this photograph when I was flying into O'Hare Airport when I used to live in northern Illinois for one godforsaken year. When you're looking down, what do you see that looks like it's human? Well, pretty much everything I see looks like it's human in that photograph. We affected everything there. This is flying out of LAX going over the top of Redondo Beach. What do you see that looks like human activity? Take a look at it. Now this is over Greenland. Not as much, right? Okay, culture is this. This is the learned traits of a group of people, including what they eat and drink. I mean, these are critically important parts of culture, right? You go to a different place, people eat and drink different things than perhaps you do if you live in California. What people believe, everybody does not believe the same thing. What language people speak, what religion they practice, what their architecture looks like, and what things they value. Most of what people do is actually culture. Most. What about other animals? Now, I'm going to be the first one that's going to say that other animals actually have some components of culture, but not like human beings. The other animals don't have written language. They don't make musical instruments. As far as we know, they don't have any religion. They don't have math. I know that crows can do math and certain other animals can do some amounts of math, but this is something that we're doing almost as a trick to them. They don't have the internet. They obviously don't use money. We invented that. They don't understand what the moon is doing or what the sun is doing, so they don't understand science. They don't develop vaccines. They don't have mobile vehicles, and on and on. These are all characteristics of humanity. What cultural components do you think you could do without? Think about it. What would you choose to try to preserve if most people on the planet were wiped out? What components of culture would you try to preserve? I think obviously one of them would be agriculture, right? I mean, you have to have food. But there may be a variety of other things. Music, how important is it to you? Language, religion, math, money? Would you try and keep money? There are only 800 people left in North America, and you were in a group of 15 of them.